If a group of babies were brought together without any external language input, it's natural to wonder how they would communicate among themselves. Neuroscientists and linguists are attempting to understand how language is learned by examining topics such as language processing regions, brain plasticity, and the critical period hypothesis. These studies demonstrate that language acquisition is shaped by both innate abilities and environmental factors. Chomsky proposes in his universal grammar theory that humans have an innate capacity for language acquisition and have access to a universal grammar based on certain fundamental structural properties shared by all languages in the world. This theory argues that language acquisition cannot be solely explained by environmental interactions, but also asserts that humans possess an innate language capacity. Throughout history, there have been examples of children developing a new language among themselves. One of the most well-known examples is the emergence of Nicaraguan Sign Language, which demonstrates that language can arise from a social need. Now, let's take a look at some significant examples known in the field of language acquisition. Victor, the wild child of Aveyron. Victor, known as the wild child of Aveyron, was found in France in 1799 after living alone in the forest for many years and was brought into civilization. Victor did not possess the ability to speak when found. His educator, Jean-Marc Gaspard Itard, attempted to teach Victor language, but he could only acquire limited language skills. Jeannie, the wild child. In the 1970s, Jeannie, who was socially isolated and severely abused when found at the age of 13, became an important case study for research on language acquisition. Jeannie could hardly speak when found, and her case shed light on the effects of long-term social isolation on language development. Jeannie's case is a significant example, supporting the critical period hypothesis and the role of social interaction in language acquisition, Nicaraguan Sign Language. In the 1980s, the organic development of a new sign language among deaf children in Nicaragua is an example showing how language can naturally emerge. These children developed a new language among themselves without formal sign language education, demonstrating that language acquisition relies on social interaction and the natural language abilities of the human brain. Throughout history, experiments on language acquisition have often involved methods deemed unethical, thus falling under the category of forbidden experiments. These are attempts to explore the fundamental nature of human beings or the origins of language by isolating children from normal language use. However, due to the extraordinary deprivation of human contact required by such experiments, they have often faced criticism and have been rarely conducted. Now let's look at these significant cases together. The experiment of Psamtik I. In the 7th century BC, there is said to be an experiment conducted by the Egyptian pharaoh Psamtik I to determine the origin of language. In this experiment, babies were raised in isolation to observe which language would emerge naturally. However, modern interpretations of the results suggest that babies only produced random sounds, which cannot be considered as conscious language. The experiment of Frederick II. In the 13th century, another experiment, allegedly carried out by the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II, aimed to investigate whether a natural language would emerge when babies were completely deprived of human interaction. Records of this experiment indicate that babies did not survive such isolation and therefore could not develop any language. The experiment of James IV of Scotland. James IV attempted to determine whether language was learned or innate by leaving two children in the care of a mute woman and raising them in isolation on the Inchkeith Island of Scotland. However, there is no clear record of the results of this experiment, and it has been historically met with skepticism. The experiment of Akbar. Mughal emperor. Akbar tested whether language came through hearing or was innate by raising children with mute caregivers. But the results of this experiment remain uncertain. Language fundamentally serves a social function. Communication allows people to collaborate, share information, and establish social bonds. In this context, it is expected that 100 babies would develop some form of communication among themselves. However, whether this communication would resemble any existing languages or form an entirely new linguistic form is a matter of great curiosity. The language acquisition of multilingual children is a topic of intense interest in the fields of linguistics and psychology. When exposed to multiple languages from an early age, children can learn these languages simultaneously or sequentially. This process can be better understood with some specific examples and research findings. Early exposure and language differentiation. Children exposed to multiple languages from an early age have the ability to differentiate between these languages. For example, a child may learn one language at home, often the family language, and another language outside, community language or school language. Research indicates that these children can learn and use both languages at a native level. Code mixing and switching. Multilingual children have the ability to switch between languages, code switching, and use two languages together, code mixing. This demonstrates the linguistic skills and flexibility of multilingual environments. Code mixing and switching help children develop the ability to use both languages appropriately according to the situation. If placing 100 babies in a room results in them speaking any of the existing languages, it could spark significant interest and debates in the fields of linguistics, psychology, anthropology, and even philosophy. This scenario could challenge existing theories on language acquisition, human nature, and the origins of language, laying a foundation for new research. Such an event could compel a re-evaluation of current theories on language acquisition and the evolution of language. Linguists may need to reassess their understanding of whether language is innate or entirely a social phenomenon. If babies are able to naturally acquire a specific language, it could lead to significant changes in early childhood education and foreign language teaching methods. Education systems could use this information to optimize language learning processes. If babies start speaking an existing language without any external influence, it could deeply influence our understanding of fundamental characteristics of human nature and the origins of language. Anthropologists may revisit the role of language in the development of human societies and cultures. This event could trigger philosophical debates on the existential and ontological status of language. The impact of language on human consciousness and thought could lead to a re-evaluation of the place of language in the human experience. Therefore, such an event would be a groundbreaking discovery that would fundamentally shake our current scientific understanding and lead to numerous new research avenues. I hope this video has inspired you to think about the origins of language and the nature of human communication. What language or form of communication do you think 100 babies would develop among themselves? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting video content. Goodbye.